Hello, everyone. I'm CZ Lumen, and this is StarCraft 2. What I have for you here is a Zerg versus Protoss, Dino Nuggy versus Rufius. And we're going to see who wins and at what cost. That was the name of the replay that I found on Spawnpedia, and wanted to give it a shot, see what's going on here. Who reigns supreme on the map Babylon LE? Looks like we're going to have a standard opening, at least so far, for the Terran, where we just see a barracks go up first before the command center, and a quick hatchery. Yep, here we go. This has been a really consistent thing for a while now, apparently. Zerg has been opting to build a second hatchery before the spawning pool. So that's pretty neat. I'm going to be speeding forward just a little bit so we can get to the more interesting parts and see where the deviation begins. 16 workers versus 18 Terran on the bottom side. So from here on out, when I call out numbers, I'm going to be declaring Zerg's numbers first versus the Terrans. Helps give a little bit of reference that way when I say 1919, or when I say an army value of 0 to 1. You know that the Terran is now now Terran has an army of 2. Zerg is up to an army of 6, looking like Zerg units. Both sides are producing pretty quickly, building up on their economy as much as possible. We have a Reaper attack here. We're going to see if he gets any work done with this Reaper. It doesn't look like it. Well, gets close. It's close. Any units lost? No units lost so far. 6 resources lost on the Terran side. So some kind of cancellation occurred. Reaper getting shooed away by the Queen. That just little pops out there. Zerg now supply blocked, saving the drone by turning it into a spine crawler in order to save it from the Reaper attack. Which, hey, I mean, it saves the worker. You lose a little bit of resources. 24 resources now so far. Oh, that was the Terran. Zerg, by the way, losing resources, not the Terran. And we see that especially when there's a cancellation, or like an extractor cancellation, or spawning, or any other building. So, what are the unique abilities of the Zerg against the other races? Is this a 1/1/1 opener? Yes, 1/1 opener for the Terran player. Barracks, factory, and starport. It lets Terran have a really generalized production capability. Zerg opting for a third hatchery before a lair. Zerg's doing a really good job expanding here. Just a little bit ahead of the Terran, 29 workers versus 27. Queen coming out here to try to take care of the Reaper. One of the Reaper's main abilities is the fact that it's able to not just get away and jump over cliffs, but regenerate pretty quickly when it's out in combat. And it has these little grenades that don't really do a whole lot of damage, if any. They just knock their opponents away. So it's kind of like a crowd control system that lets them either get away or manipulate enemy positions to try to give them just like a better shot. Looks like we are having a good research production on the Terran side with a Liberator coming up. Pretty much stim packs are on the way by the Terran. Terran looks like he is opting for, or they, I don't know who Rufus is opting to hunker down and play defensive. Well, as far as defensive goes, walling off your entry points against the Zerg here. Zerglings trying to attack this one Hellion. Are they gonna get this Hellion for free? Oh, how cruel is that, right? To be driving towards your friends, be like, guys, help me. Your buddy Hellion just kind of watches the Zerglings run on by, just derping around, and then like there's a whole bunch of like units. Your buddies are at the base just chilling, being like, yeah, he's coming back. We'll take care of the Zerglings once he gets. It's a letdown. Zerg is doing a pretty good job saturating the 3 bases that it has ahead of the Terran player. A third command center is going up, 2 orbital commands by the Terran player to really push that economy, as well as options to be able to scan or give these little supply depots a little hat and doubling their supply cap. They have 8 with a little hat that the orbital command can drop. It gives them a supply cap of 16, which means that the Terran doesn't have to spend 100 resources to build another supply depot. That adds up over time. If you build 10 supply depots and drop 10 little hats on them, then that gives them, that's basically thousands minerals that they didn't have to spend. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you're running razor thin mineral counts and your minerals start to run out, that 1,000 can add up. Considering that one of these little patches here starts off with only 900 resources. So take that. The counter argument is using mules, which I'm sure he's doing here. Let's see. There we go. These little mules here are really quick to go back and forth and mine without interfering with the SCVs. And so you get a nice economic boost. The problem is, if I remember correctly, it has been a while since I've actually really hungered down and played, but if you don't manage these well, they actually will disappear with a load of minerals on the way back. So for a little bit, with some micromanaging, a lot of pro players would have these mules and be paying attention to what their life bar is. And when the life bar went down, they would make sure that the mule performed a drop off, and then have the mule do pretty much anything else, either repair or just hang out and go away. So that way they don't lose minerals, because if an SCV or mule has resources in its arms, when it dies, it takes that with it. So it would be kind of interesting if it like just dropped and then like you can have a unit come over and pick it up. But that's just the name of the game. Some people opt to build the orbital command before moving the command center, and the reason why you'd want to do that is because during transit, like the moment that comes up during transit, you're still building up your energy, which gives you the ability to drop down one of those 3 options, either a scan or a mule or a supply depot resource. And it can add up over time. It's only a few seconds, so not really losing a whole lot. But if you're suddenly being attacked in transit, then now you need to recall your command center and deal with the attack, and that's just lost potential mining time or potential options. 33 workers on 1 base up here. Dino needs to work on his macroing and economy management. 8 out of 16 in his natural base, oversaturating his upper base. 33 out of 16. You're you're not going to get anything more than 3 times, or 3 workers per mineral drop. So for this, 16 is optimal, meaning that there's no wasted worker time. 24 is suboptimal, but you do gain an economic advantage in the sense that you do mine more, but workers are going to have a little bit of downtime as they wait for a mineral patch to come up. However, there is no downtime for the mineral patch, so you get kind of pros and cons there. The sweet spot would be 20, 50% more than what's recommended. So if it recommends 8, then 12 would be about the sweet spot of getting squeezing out just a little bit more minerals for the price of a few extra drones. But if you have open mineral patches, it's best to just do 2 workers per mineral patch and leave that be. Small Terran drop over here in the bottom left-hand corner or bottom left center. Terran coming in to try to harass and see what work they can get done. Stemming up. No. Yeah, here we go. Zerg does clean that up pretty nicely. not a whole lot really lost there. Good creep spread by the Zerg player. This is difficult. Creep spread, managing all these things as a Zerg is just absolutely insane. It seems like Terran and Protoss sometimes feel like you can just click attack move and micro just a few abilities from a few different units. I'm trying to pay attention here. Zerg runs down and basically ambushes or attacks these units here pretty quick, getting a lot of work done, wiping out that army. Something I don't. Zerg has just a lot of options, and this is the thing that kind of gets me just a little bit. Zerg feels like if you had if you had perfect micromanagement of your forces, the Zerg would be insane because they have so many options available to them. They can burrow. They have a lot of units that have these little like micro things about them. You have to work on these creep spread using these tumors. You have queens that arguably are one of the best units in the game, but they have a lot of drawbacks. Like they're just really good defensive units that can heal. They can be incredibly fast to expand. Their entire expansion or their unit production is all based on just wherever their hive is or the hatchery. Here we go. We have a kind of a flanking attack. An attack being led by the south, and then a smaller attack being attacked by the north to try to distract this Terran as much as possible and really take away as much attention from one or the other, which lets the Zerg be able to either do a click and move attack or come in here and just try to like knock these out as much as possible. This bunker getting a whole lot of work done, being capable of not just defending the Zerg, but not losing any units during the attack. Having to eat through that bunker before losing offensive units is a big deal. That's basically the advantage of that. Which is, hey, I mean, like every little bit can help. So that attack kind of failed. That was not much really happened there. Zerg, per usual, losing more than their opponent. Extra energy for the command centers is a little high. Usually when a Terran player recognizes that, I don't know if he has these on a hotkey, but basically once they realize that they have a whole lot of resources, they'll basically mule up and just burn through mineral patches. Something to note, if you are a Terran player, you have the option of, if you can basically grind down a mineral field, but you have two mineral fields patches that you would have to work on. You have the smaller patch and the bigger patch. If you work on the bigger patch, it makes it so you run out faster. If you work on the smaller patch, you'll have that will definitely like mine out even faster. So basically, how long do you want a mineral patch to last? And as always, you always want to mine out the furthest mineral patch from your main base as possible, because if you mine out this one first before your main base, then that means that you have your main base resources still available to you, even if you lose this base. This base is vulnerable to attack. We have 24 out of 16, really squeezing out as much as possible. South attack by the Zerg using Hydralisk and Zerglings, getting a lot done here. Let's see what the back and forth. Units lost 7400 to 5700. Zerg is still just not trading well. And we have a nice Terran drop down here and denying Zerg one of the bases. Doing a pretty good job. I don't know what rank these individuals are, by the way. If I had to make a guess, silver or gold. Maybe diamond. Both players are doing a pretty good job building up. Little unusual to see sport crawlers spread out like this. A great way to basically deny a drop, that's just helpful. Every little bit can go a long way. Now the pro to this is, if you can get your opponent to just spend a lot of money on air defenses and you're not focused on air combat, then you've wasted their money, and that's just a good strategy in a sense. Ultralisk Cavern is made for the Zerg. We're going to see. I love seeing these guys come on the board. Oh, this should be a good fight. Well, actually, hold up. This game looks familiar. Head-on attack against siege tanks, Zerglings, Hydralisks, and Banelings basically running up the front door. We have these pile of rocks and this open base up here that is somewhat vulnerable, although we do have a siege tank here. So it's up for debate on which one of these you'd want to attack as a Zerg, depending on what information you have. Really good wall off over here, but this is going to be a fresh base. This base is getting mined out, so we're going to see how effective this is going to be here in just a second. Marines and Marauders moving forward just a little bit, trying to inch away the Zerg and figure out what's going on. Ultralisk coming around here, just derping around. Look at them, derp, 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 derp. Oh, denying another Terran drop here in the south, doing a pretty good job preventing the Marines from killing this hatchery. Something is definitely needed in order to prevent this from continuing hostilities, like Mutalisks, anything else. But it's hard, right? You're already focused on several things at once. Moving a queen or two over there definitely may not be a bad idea. I said queens are one of the top units in the game. They can attack up, they can attack down. They're spellcaster units, so they have resources. They can heal, build creep, expand creep with creep tumors. They're just a good generalized units. They're just really slow. Good upgrades going on for both sides so far. Armor for the Zerg units has been researched up to tier 2, so I always wondered if more research options was made for each side, and not just more research options, but oh, this is going to be a fun fight. Or slaughter. I mean, if you're Terran at this point, you just want to like get your units out as fast as possible and run away. Yeah, if you can, because Hydralisks that used to be in StarCraft 1 were the most efficient unit in the game. Now they're just slightly inefficient. I don't know what the most economically efficient unit in the game is, actually. Kind of a question. But yeah, I always kind of wondered if StarCraft opened it up so the +1 bonus was infinite, but every single time you researched it, it got more expensive. As well as things like unit speed or maybe other options. Always made me wonder, like if you can imagine that. So basically, hypothetically, you would be able to research your armor upgrades to the point where the enemy couldn't attack you. So they would have to constantly research attack. On the flip side, it would be this economic research war between the two sides. Oh, Terran doing a good job knocking out this hatchery, left completely undefended. A spine crawler or two, Hydralisks, anything could have helped stop this. Like just chilling down here. But and this is like, if you're all army hotkeying, then what else are you gonna do, right? Cocoon or Bangling's coming up for the Zerg player. Terran is just really knocking it out with these savings here. 2,000 in savings versus Zerg's 600. Zerg's doing a good job spending the resources needed, and is still ahead by about 30% in terms of unit or resources lost. So a lot of research and production going on here at the same time by both players. Really good management. Here we have a supply depot with one of those little hats. Both armies have hit their supply cap in what they can actually build, and soon what they can actually put down on the field. 80 to 80 workers. Oh, what a fight. Not bad. Pretty good, standard Run in there with Zerglings and Banglings and try to do as much damage as you can. Planetary Fortress holding down really well, getting repaired by the Zerg or by the Terran player. Heavier losses for the Zerg. Wait. Oh. A Spore Crawler has been taken down already. Just watching this. I'm just enjoying the little fight here. Not much really to say. Terran did a good job with this this drop over here, knocking out that hatchery, denying a fully saturated base mining time, which is definitely going to hurt Dino Nuggy since he has been, well, he's suffering more losses than the Terran player, but has been also generally out mining. I think his economy has been significantly better. Workers just a moment ago was 80 to 80. What happened? Yeah, what happened? What did I miss? Okay, we have this. Got attacks going on over here. Yeah. Workers 80 to 70. What happened? Army supply is 78.93. We're going to speed up just a little bit more. Knocking down the rocks. Zerg likes knocking down the rocks. Very good idea. Okay, trying to take that base. Got an attack up here going on. Going to take some pretty heavy losses. We have 81 workers versus 78. Zerg doing a pretty good job clearing out this base, attacking from the north and then retreating after the damage being done. 81 to 77 workers still. A Terran drop in the bottom of Zerg's base, denying. Oh wow, double Marine drop, knocking out 2 bases at the same time. So that time and money investment by the Zerg player getting denied. And then we have here this base again. So minerals in the bank, some spore crawlers and spine crawlers probably would have helped here, but easier said than done, right? It's easier for me to just say that here in hindsight. Okay, so this base is going to go down here in just a second. Nothing too crazy going on. Still just good, solid attacking tactics. This counterattack, Zerg's counterattack here with Zerglings and Banglings. Zerg and Bang, a Zerg Bang. Yeah, that's what I'm going to call these guys. Just a Zerg Bang. Because, you know, the Zergs go in, Banglings go in, and it's just a bust. Double attack again. Dino is really good at initiating these double attacks to try to take away as much attention as possible. Zerglings soaking up as much damage, followed up by the Banglings. Banglings coming in, just rolling in, and just blasting away, blowing up. Command center is going to go down for the Terran player, and then Zerg is going to run away after damage is done. 80 workers to 56. Here's another drop by the Marines, or by the Terran player, getting ready to destroy this upgrading hatchery. Wow, that's rough. What a rough loss right here. Parasitic bomb, right? Hitting the medevac. Medevac is trying to heal as much as possible, and it's going to survive. Terran denying 2 bases, just doing a good job with these Terran drops. This is fantastic. Look at this. I mean, knocked down that base once already, and like in the process of knocking down these 2 bases, comes up here with another drop. And these aren't big drops. These are just Marines. Fully upgraded. +3/+3. Zerg is up there too. +3/+2/+3. +3 melee, +2 range, +3 carapace. So Terran doing a good job hunkering down with those siege tanks, marauders, and building up. We have an army supply of 86 to 83. Workers 45 to 56. So minutes ago, Zerg had 80 workers, and now they're down to 45. That's a pretty heavy economic hit, and I see a lot of players when they start taking worker losses, they forget to rebuild them. But it's hard to really pay attention to or know how many workers that you have, and that's part of the frustrating endeavor right here. Because sure, like right here, I have a worker count 43 to 56 right now, but when you're playing in the middle of the game, this is just a really good fight, really clean. Zerg coming in, cleaning up those Marines and Marauders. This one Marauder roof it. That's great. It's like, no, I'm not letting you guys go. But yeah, I mean, you have to sit here and count for a second how many workers that you have, and 37 workers now for the Zerg player against 56. Terran is taking the economic lead in every category. Smaller army, but the Terran player is going to be able to catch up pretty well. What did I just do? I just hit a button on my new headset and apparently just turned off the lights. So it's a pretty cool headset. I really like this headset. I'm really happy with it. I don't know how it sounds. I'm gonna have to listen to this casting and see how it goes. So Zerg army meandering around up here in the north. Not really doing anything in particular. Just hanging out. Zerglings, Hydralisks, and Ultralisks. Good mix of units with a few Vipers. Vipers being able to pull units out of position and toward whatever it is you want. So, fun fact, you can use these to transport your units. So if you want to move a unit up a hill, you can actually do that like an Ultralisk. So, but they're going to be stuck up there unless you have enough energy to pull them again. I just thought that was funny. I ran that on one of my own games, and I just thought that was kind of silly that I can do that. But it costs a lot of energy, which spellcaster units, it's really hard to build that up. Rufus here with a small drop of Marines and Marauders just kind of chilling here, getting ready to deny another base. I think he's going to be surprised that there's no base going to be here. We have a creep termer just chilling. But yeah, so here he kills the one larvae. That's just relaxing. What did that larvae do to you, man? Like, come on. Massive attack by the Zerg attacking the southern part, and this is a concentrated attack instead of a double prong attack, which is a little unusual for Dino, but I think Dino just kind of figured, you know what, I'm just going to throw all my eggs in one basket and go for it. However, Terran is doing a good job, again, double attacking, knocking out one hatchery, knocking out the second hatchery. Yeah, that hatchery is going down. And sure, there's Hydralisk and Ultralisk here, but Medevac runs away, leaving those guys to die. And very sad day for those Marines. They probably could have escaped, could have saved a little bit, but the risk was high. If they had those Hydralisks moved in, those Marines died, so that Medevac did not have to. It's an empty Medevac. It's a very sad Medevac. Imagine being the pilot of that. Can you imagine just like flying this, just like hovering over this little rock formation, and what is that? What's underneath that? Is that fire? Oh. Look at these little aliens. Look at this. Are those... Is that copyright infringement? Okay, well that's cool. Ewoks. I was trying to think of the name of it. And we got little Ewoks just partying. That's absolutely hilarious. I love it. I love little stuff like that. Kind of like makes the map feel like just a little bit alive. Who do you think would win? You know, like, would you think any the Empire from Star Trek or Star Wars, or the Empire from Star Trek? Use the Force, Harry, says Spock. There goes a whole lot of my channel subscribers right there. If I had any chance of that, upsetting three or four different cultures at once. All right, here we go. Zerg building back up, 53 workers, 62. Terran deciding to just turtle down, creating that shell of units, liberators on the field, making sure to add a little bit more defense. Oddly enough, more missile turrets are up, and there's not a whole lot of air attack. I remember Brood War, Guardians. I think it was you had to morphing in Guardians was just one of those crazy things because they just had such great range. They were just an air artillery unit that was just, it felt satisfying to have. But now you have Broodlords, which, I mean, they're cool. They're neat. What do you think is better, Broodlords or Guardians? I mean, they both fulfill the same function, except for the Guardians basically hogged a massive like acidic loogie at the opponent from a pretty good distance. If you could imagine that, like just chilling down at, defending your base or whatever, and then just like a green snot raining from the sky because this massive guardian just decided to just spit on you. Not what you want. Trap coming. I did cast this game before. Ugh, I did cast this game, but oh my goodness. That's funny. All right. Well, that's cool. I'm just going to continue casting this anyway because this is just a good match. I love this match. Look at that. Double pulls, gets those liberators out, and we have just this wonderful setup. Siege tanks ready to go with a good line of Marines and Marauders, preventing them from being attacked too quickly with the Zerg getting funneled in. I mean, like, some siege tanks over here probably might have been better positioned, but hey, and I do believe siege tanks, regular tanks, actually deal more damage to armored units versus the siege option deals more splash damage, but I think you have to hit 2 or more units for that to be worth it. And I've seen a lot of cases where players will take a siege tank and they'll siege it up and never get a single shot off and just get destroyed. So there are Terran players, there are reasons why, or to have just a regular tank. These guys do a lot of damage. So, I mean, sieging up is great and all, but if you take out one unit, that one unit's no longer dealing damage. If you splash damage a whole bunch of units and they're still alive, they're still 100% combat effective. Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, obviously, if you have enough siege tanks to just obliterate everything known to man in one spot, then more power to you. You're doing fine. Good attacks by Marauders pulling in those ultra. That would be so terrifying. Imagine being in a Marauder suit and then like shooting an Ultralisk in the face just to get their attention. The scaling here is not accurate, by the way. So like, I mean, if yeah, basically like we're the size of a mouth on one of those things. Hydralisks cleaning this up nicely, doing a good job, being just a really Zerg's general purpose unit, being able to shoot up and down. I'm trying to think. Okay, so Terran have Marines, which cost 50 minerals, and they can shoot up and down. They can shoot air and ground pretty well. The Zerg have the Queens, but Queens cost 150, and they are able to shoot up and down as well. Hydralisks require gas. Not much. I think it's 25 gas, but still, they require gas, so they're a little bit more on the expensive side. And they're the general purpose unit to be able to fight pretty much anything. So a swarm of these can attack anything. But I think for, let's see, Protoss use stalkers. They don't have a unit that only takes minerals that can shoot air and ground. So just kind of a little interesting tidbit. It's not terribly important either. Like, I mean, if you knock out ground forces pretty effectively like these Marauders do, then I mean, you don't have to worry about air. But again, if your opponent is starting to go heavy air, then yeah, you're going to need to have some sort of way to counter it. But I've seen matches where people deploy air forces and the other side just doesn't even care because the air force can't do enough damage to stop the ground forces. And I always find those games kind of comical. You'll have like a banshee or something, like just like kind of picking away at a bunch of roaches, and and the Zerg player's like, yeah, whatever, I got roaches, and just like pick apart the base as the banshee is like attacking the roaches with a wet noodle of a weapon. Hydro's coming in again, doing a good job just cleaning this up, knocking out the worker count. I forgot I didn't pay attention to what the worker count was. I think it was like 40 something, and now it's down to 34. So doing a pretty good job just trying to deny that economy to the Terran player as much as possible. Zerg has expanded, just aggressively expanded this whole game and doing a pretty good job at it too. Getting cleaned up there. Terran taking the bottom left-hand base with a planetary fortress, which is just a beast of a thing. I mean, it's really hard to knock these things. I think they get like a +1 armor and a splash damage weapon. So, like this is no joke, especially when you have SUVs that or SCVs come in and just like repair it as you're trying to destroy it. So it's like the question is, do you attack the SCVs and get destroyed, or do you attack this and hopefully knock it out before you get destroyed? Always the question. But we're gonna find out here in just a second. We have a bunch of Zerglings, Banglings, and Ultralists. Pretty sure. Oh well, we have an army of Marauders up here too. So we're gonna find out if in a second. I think this gets attacked. I did. This game feels a little different. I don't know if this is the same game that I casted. I mean, same matchup. Terran versus Zerg. How funny would that be if this was a different game than the one I casted earlier, and they just played very similarly, so similar that I just thought it was. Here we go. So yeah, now we have the defense coming in. SCVs getting ready to repair. Nope, they don't even care. Bailey's coming in, doing a pretty good job cleaning up those Marauders. Medevac not doing a very good job picking up those Marauders. Looks like that planetary fortress is going to go down. Ultra's doing a fantastic job just knocking that out. And there we go. Victory called by or towards Dino Nuggy. Rufus taps out of the game after losing that base. Really? Okay, we're going to go back here. Really? All right, 55 workers to 29 at the near end here. Rufus decides that this is it. This is when he taps out. I think this is a different game than the one I casted before. Same trap. No, that can't be right. Because I remember I played this match. I did cast a game that was like this. Okay, but anyway, back to this. So Zerg is suffering a lot heavier losses than the Terran, which is pretty typical for a matchup. Bunch of Marauders up here. Production still fully intact by the Terran player. Mined out base, mined out base, mined out base. We have a fully almost all right. We're working on saturating that base up here. We have 29 workers available somewhere. Okay. So I wonder why. Oh, this is weird. Maybe he just decided he had enough. Just trying to think here. What options did he have? Okay, so he had a reactor with the starport. Could have swapped over for a tech lab and started pumping out different units. I don't feel like he has a lot of gas in the bank too. That's a lot of options. Tech lab barracks is, I mean, that's a step away from building ghosts. Fully upgraded 1-1 for a bio army. So he can continue to pump out Medivacs and Marines and Marauders, but I guess he just felt like he wasn't doing enough damage. He wasn't getting enough done, which is funny. Or I don't want to say funny, but interesting in how like he did some really good drops. But then again, after this fight, he probably is. This is his army. Zerg is 88 army supply versus 51. This is pretty much all he has. Yeah, he has no siege tanks up here. He has just a few units, I think, getting ready to try to defend this upper position. He had to move his command centers, okay, his orbital commands, and they are exhausted from resources. So he doesn't have any more mules. So he's picking up on mules real quick here. We're gonna move just a little slower. This one fight, yeah, this one fight is just what. This one fight is it. This is what he has. I'm gonna like zoom in here. Do these guys have? Okay, they have the +5 armor or the bonus armor. I don't know. I don't remember what it is right now. Banglings are pretty rough. This is a pretty expensive army to replace. Army value wise, Zerg is up ahead. 34 to 20 or 3,400 to 2,400. More gas also spent on the army. So this is a pretty well saturated base. Less than half, 13 out of 31 workers are located down here, and they all of them are going to perish here in just a second. So this was a demoralizing fight for Rufus. I feel like Rufus did a fantastic job just constantly harassing his opponent here, keeping them on their toes. More infantry coming in, but they are just probably should have picked up what units he could and then withdrawn, but against Ultralisks, like you have a bio army, these guys do a lot of damage in like an area in front of them. They are really hard to deal with. Army supply wise is 78 to 21. So Rufus estimated here, I'm guessing he couldn't fight this. Like, look at this. What's Rufus's view of this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 Ultralisks. Just imagine that. 5 Ultralisks, and you have just hope and prayers. You have 1 Widow Mine, which is ready to go, but yeah, no, that's fair. You would have had to basically evacuate as much as you can and move everything over. And that's going up against a 55 worker economy. He doesn't even know. Look at this. So his scouting wise, he's probably guessing as well that Zerg has a pretty good economy behind this. And if we look the comparison, oh, there we go. Like he doesn't know what's going on here. Yeah, rebuilt bases. Like he's constantly having to fight this. Zerg is doing a fantastic job, re-expanding, rebuilding up those workers. Losses are equalizing out. One interesting thing that I keep seeing is early in the games, you'll see losses normally go one side or the other, and then as the game goes on, especially in the very end, if one side is catching up, then you have like that shift in losses, and so it almost equals out. Terran 4,000 losses away, but yeah, good game. Good game. Pretty good. Good base building. Good expansion. Great. Great drops on the Terran player. Probably too many turrets. I don't think you needed this many turrets, but they are detector units, which can be pretty helpful. But hindsight is 2020. We now have a spore crawler up here. Oh, that's funny. Let's see what else we got. Did you learn this lesson down here? Spore crawlers? No spore crawlers. I see that often with Zerg. Look at this. I mean, we have 3 spore crawlers over here. Like he started off pretty well, but Anyway, hope you enjoyed today's game. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought. If you liked the little tactical rundowns, I try to really go in there and see these little battles that happen when they seem significant. So, because I know a lot of players, like, you have to focus on the economy, and the economy is basically the fundamentals of the game. So, GG, have a good day.